How's everybody doing? This is going to be, I'm going to be a different speaker. I'm just going to tell you this right now. I absolutely hate standing behind the podium, but I'm going to do it for you guys. And thank you, Michael, for that great introduction. I'm gonna say a little thing about that. Anybody here from Kentucky? Anybody? Okay, good. Okay. This is my real bio. This is true. This is usually the one I give. My real bio is I'm an A-Bear from Grand Lake. For those of you who don't know that, that's Cameron Parish. My mom was a Broussard from Lake Ortha. You know where my genes are. And I married a hillbilly from Kentucky. And that's the truth. Everybody says million, but it's million, like $1 million. And in Kentucky, there are millions. So, yeah, when Baton Rouge contacted me, I just built a brand new building in Lake Charles, state of the art, was, doing great. And I left. Actually did an open house and left and came to Baton Rouge. And my husband worked for Entergy, and he retired for a year. And I went home one night and I told him, I said, Alan, I found you a job. And he said, I didn't know I was looking. I said, surprise. He works for Gage. So just to give you a little bit of background, we have 3 sons. So that's really all you need to know about me personally. You guys, thank you for having me here also. Let me say that. You guys have a gift on the in the table, and that's a sucker. I bring a sucker. I've been doing this for almost 39 years. I learned a long time ago 2 things. That you bring something to the crowd, right? A gift. And I chose to bring suckers for 2 reasons. I want you to eat one, not be one, right? And then it also sweetens up the crowd, so in case you think about heckling me, you might have that sucker in your mouth. So, and I've been heckled a time or 2, so just wanted to say that really quickly. So enjoy your sucker. Okay, I'm going to give you some boring stats, and I'm going to get through that, and I'm going to tell you this is how I run a speech. I'm going to give you the facts. We're going to talk about some schemes and scams, and then I like to open it up for questions almost immediately. And that way we can go wherever you want to go. If you guys don't ask me a question, I'll throw some more information out at you, because let me tell you, I can talk. Then, at the very end, I have 3 door prizes. And the fun thing about that is I get to choose who gets the door prizes. So. That's the value of being the speaker. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to tell you some things about the Better Business Bureau. Well, let me ask you a question. When you hear Better Business Bureau, what's the first thing you think of? Just yell something out. Fraud, okay? Complaints. That's normally, whoever said that, that's normally what I've gotten for 38 plus years. I've gotten that. Complaints. I'm going to share some stats with you because people think all we do is sit at the office and handle complaints. We do handle complaints. However, in 2020, and by the way, 2020 being a COVID year, a couple of board members were a little shaky about, us being a nonprofit because we're 501c6 and how we were going to withstand a disaster. Let me tell you, when there's a disaster is when the Better Business Bureau is needed most. And we had a stellar year in 2020. In 2020, your Better Business Bureau here handled 481,536 inquiries by phone on our website. And that's pre-purchase inquiries. That's people checking on your business before they do business with you because they don't know who to trust. And who better to contact than the Better Business Bureau, right? At that same time period last year, we received 1,724 complaints and only published 1,252. Why is that? The other 300 or 400 weren't valid complaints. The Better Business Bureau gives information to help consumers make an informed decision. That's what we do. And we do mediate, and we do handle complaints. And I can tell you right now, since I've gotten here, we've tweaked a few things, and my complaint manager has gotten the complaint resolution rate up to 92%. Locally, that's amazing. Nationally, we're at the top, okay, and that's our goal. Our goal is to resolve complaints. The consumer's not always right, but neither is the company. We want to go between those 2 parties and help them resolve those issues. But part of that is determining if it's even a valid complaint, right? I don't think a complaint is a negative. I think a complaint is an opportunity. And I'll tell you a quick story about that. Joanne, I hope you don't mind about this. But we had a guy that called, and he was upset and wanted to file a complaint against us, which, you know, it happens. And so he was really upset. And the funny thing is, what he was upset about at first didn't make sense. And it was because how we ended our conversation, which is we didn't say goodbye. I mean, think about that. It was a complaint, and in his mind, that was huge. So we sat there and talked about it. It's the funny thing. We don't really say goodbye. We always say, thank you for calling the Better Business Bureau. I hope you have a great day. Now we say goodbye after every call. It's so funny. You don't know what you don't know until people tell you. I would much rather a consumer or even another business, because businesses are consumers, call the Better Business Bureau, let us work with you to resolve it, than have them go on Facebook and put all the dirty laundry out there. And I will tell you, when people file a complaint, we tell them, keep your emotions out of it. Think about that. Stick to the facts and keep your emotions out of it, because every complaint, whether you're a business or consumer, your emotions are in there, right? Keep it out. That way we can get to the root of the problem and resolve it. And that's why our resolution rate is 92%. Plus, I instructed our complaint manager to pick up the phone. I don't care if they're a member. I don't care if they're not a member. I don't care if they have an F rating. If there's a complaint and it's not responded to, you need to pick up the phone and call them and let them know. We want to give them every chance to resolve it. Having said that, I also want to say, and I do talk a lot, is that the difference between the Better Business Bureau and other agencies, we never publish a complaint or a review until we send it to the company first. Why? We have to verify that it's even their customer. We had let me just kind of go into this. We also get Better Business Bureau supported solely by member firms, right? So you have to meet and maintain certain standards to be a member and to maintain that membership. That's the only funding we get. We're not government, we just get memberships. But not just anybody can be a member. We had a guy who did an application and went through the membership process, and we did our investigation, which we do. We verified everything. They have to be in business 6 months. They have to have a B or better rating, blah, blah, blah. And then when the process of them being approved, we all of a sudden started getting all these positive reviews just out of the blue. Well, that was strange because we'd never gotten a review on this company before. So we looked at the IP addresses and investigated, and of course it was coming from the company. They are not a member of the Better Business Bureau because they did not meet our standards. That's not ethical. So that's just kind of what we do. We do investigations. We do homework. The biggest mistake the Better Business Bureau makes is we don't tell people what we do. We just do it. Yes, you see me on TV. You see me doing those stupid TikToks that Lester Dewey makes me do, and I hate them. So in my head, I'm crying, but I'm doing them. Apparently, people like those. But we're out there talking about schemes and scams, but in the background, we're doing all this work that we just don't tell people that we do. So that was the stat part of it I wanted to share. Now, in this year so far, we've received 253,000 pre-purchase inquiries, and these are just pre-purchase inquiries. We do get other inquiries because people don't know where else to call, they call us. And we received 812 complaints, 527 were reportable. So just to give you an idea, we give information on your company. So I thought, well, somebody in the audience is going to say, nobody's going to check on my type of business, right? Okay. So what I did was I looked up the top 10 TOBs that we get complaints against and we get inquiries on. And so TOBs is a type of business, your industry, right? So the local complaint TOBs, number one, surprise, building contractors. It's also the number one inquiry. People constantly contact us about building contractors. Complaints, home improvement, restaurants, general contractors, lawyers. People don't think you can complain against. Lawyers advertise, so they're going to get complaints. That's just the reality. Used car dealers. I'm so tired of getting complaints against used car dealers. It's unreal. Discount stores, air conditioner contracts, plumbers, electricians, mostly home improvement. Inquiries, our number one is building contractors, home improvement, restaurants. It's almost verbatim they're inquiring and filing a complaint against these companies too. So it's almost the exact same list. On a national level, we have Better Business bureaus all over the United States. Number one complaint is online retailer. Imagine that. But the national inquiries on roofing contractors. So that is nationwide no matter what. So I wanted to talk about that. And then one other thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to open it up for questions. People ask us, well, first of all, let me say membership into the Better Business Bureau is by invitation only. A non-member and a member or an accredited business can both have an A+ rating, right? But you have to have at least a B or better before we will even talk to you. So you have to be in business 6 months or older, or you're not eligible. So when we're contacting you, we're also doing that background information. We do all kinds of background. We find out things we don't necessarily want to hear. But anyway, so what's the value in it for the business? Other than us promoting and protecting business, and I say protecting because when we talk to your customer and we let them know what their rights are and they may not have a valid complaint, we're also protecting you because we want to make sure we educate them whether they're going to do business with you or whether they have an issue with you. We want to be that person that gives them a unique, unbiased sounding board. So just some highlights, some stats our national office took. BBB saved a total of $3.5 billion for consumers last year through our services and media outreach efforts. And this is just, I'm going to say this last thing. For every $1 that a local accredited business paid to BBB in their dues, it ended up saving an average of $17 through the BBB's work. And let me just say, whoever is a member of the Better Business Bureau in this club, thank you so much. Because without your support, we can't do the things we do because we get no other support. So thank you. And we are putting your money to work. We try not, and Michael, my incoming chair, can tell you I'm very conservative. I use the money where it needs to be used and nothing else. So one of the things we did our shredding event last year. I don't know if any of you know about the shredding event. It's an event that every April now, we allow consumers to drive through. We unload their documents. We shred them on site. The first year I got here, we had about 125 people go through. We've made some changes every year. We work with the police department now. They've been very good to work with us. And we held it this year there, and we had over 700 vehicles go through shredding. And we did it in an hour less time. Okay, so in 3 hours, and my board was good enough to work that event, so thank you, Michael. It was fun, it was educational, but it was a very good program. Since we started doing our media outreach, the Attorney General's office and AARP has reached out to us, and they are wanting to, well actually we are already collaborating with them to do programs to educate the public more. Now that COVID's kind of whatever it's doing, maybe we can get out there more. So we're really excited about that. So anybody have any questions before I go into the scams? Yes, sir.
What's your criteria for determining if a complaint is valid or not?
Well, first of all, we send it to you to verify it's your customer. And then we ask for your side of the story. It's the funniest thing. You hear this, the consumer calls you and they tell you all these horrible things, and then you get the company's side. And we take those facts and we make a decision. And we try to be fair. And so when we publish it, if we do publish it, we publish both sides. Because there's two sides to every story. Again, a complaint's not a negative, it's an opportunity. And people who say, I love these companies that say, I'm never gonna get a complaint, you hope you get one from me. Because if you don't, it's probably on Facebook and God knows where else, and they've told all their family members. Let us head it off at the beginning so we can resolve it. And we've had people call us with a complaint, and when we're done, they'll say, thank you so much. I didn't know what my rights are, but I do now. And so it's kinder, and we may have saved their customer. Those are the things that we're really good at. Any other questions on that? Yes, sir.
How many businesses are members? What percentage of all the businesses are members, and how many employees do you have?
Okay. Good question. I have 5 employees, well, including myself. I have 2 that work at the office, and I have 2, believe it or not, that work off-site and have worked off-site before COVID. One is out of New York, and one is Houston. and they do an amazing job, and I inherited that. And so that's all we need, because we've actually slimmed down the staff, but we can do more, believe it or not. Our percentage of businesses here, we have about, I think about 1,200 members right now. We slimmed a lot down when I got here. We've done a lot of cleanup. People don't like when I tell them they have to get an occupational license, or we have to drop their membership, but that's another story. We have a market reach now about 5.1%. But my goal is to get it higher. And I know that's why they brought me in from Lake Charles. I was one of the smallest Better Business Bureaus in the system, but every other BBB was calling me because our stats were so high. But it's because we like to do personal things. We like to pick up the phone. I took the automated system off when I got here. I hate that. I want to talk to you in person as much as I can. But yeah, but we are trying to grow that. But I told my board it's going to get ugly before it gets pretty. So we have to clean it up, and the way I want it to be cleaned up, and then we're going to grow it. So one of the biggest things that we have a problem with, or nobody knows they're supposed to have an occupational license. How many of you know that you're supposed to have an occupational license? You'd be surprised how many companies have been in business. And unfortunately, the city, whoever's in charge of that, I don't know that they enforce it. We do that job for them. We investigate that every day to see if they have a license. It's so important. Because if you don't have an occupational license and you're required, we will notify you on several occasions. We will pick up the phone and call you. And then if you choose not to get it, you get an F rating. And we don't give ratings, a formula does. Not having a required occupational license brings your rating down to an F. So important. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Do you rate businesses that are not members?
Absolutely. Businesses are rated by a formula that was set up, when a group of BBBs and industries and consumers got together, and they came up with a formula to rate as fair as we can companies. So it doesn't matter if they're a member or not, they're going to go by the same rating, right? If you're a member, it doesn't give you points. Now, if you are a member, you have to stay above the B, or we're going to kick you out. Because we do revoke members almost every board meeting. That may be because they didn't respond to complaints. They didn't get their license. There's so many things that we do, and we've tried. I've brought in a lot of. I'm a rule follower, so we're going to be the rules. We're going to follow them, and that's just how it is. But yeah, we rate them the same. A non-member can have an A+. Now, if you have, let's say, a D rating because you have an unanswered complaint. I've had companies call me and say, oh my God, my consumers are calling me and I have an F rating, I have a D rating, what can I do? Respond to your complaints. I'm not asking you to give the consumer what they're asking. Respond to it. Give your side of the story. When you respond, your rating goes up. We don't do it, the system does. I'm not smart enough to change somebody's rating. So, any other questions on that? Nobody wants to know how to become a member of the Better Business Bureau? That's okay. Okay. Yes? Somebody said something? Okay. So now we're going to get to, yes, sir.
I do have a question related to the scams that you report to us about all the time. Does anybody ever resolve those and put those people in jail, or what happens with those?
I love that question. Let me tell you, I started with the Better Business Bureau, as he said, like 38 years ago. My very first phone call was a sweepstakes scam. Nothing changes. The scams are exactly the same. They are adapting to the times, is the reality. And so people ask us, like these, and most of these scammers are from a foreign country. Not all of them, but most of them are from a foreign country. And every once in a while, we'll hear that FTC has come down and arrested a group. But let me tell you, every group that they have, there's another group waiting right behind because they make money. And the scams are so sophisticated now. And I want to say this. I say this every time I talk. It doesn't matter how smart you are. Doesn't matter what your education is. Doesn't matter what your background is. If the timing is right, if the situation is right, anybody can become a victim of a scam. And I'll tell you a story about that real quick. I had in Lake Charles, I had judges that called me that were about to be scams. Anybody can be scammed. two stories I'm gonna tell you. One, we did a story on an Entergy scam. Anybody know what that is? That's where you get a call and they say, you know, they're with Entergy and you didn't pay your bill, and if you don't make arrangements to pay immediately, they're gonna cut your electricity off. And you think, who's dumb enough to fall for that? We had a restaurant that got that call and was so freaked out, they immediately made payment, okay? Because they have a restaurant, they're about to open, what are they gonna do? They're in a bind, and they're being told their electricity is gonna be cut off. The worst thing about that is the owner of that restaurant was a deputy sheriff. The situation was there. You don't know. The second thing is I had when people talk to us about scams, I can't tell you that your mother called me and said she was a victim of the scam. And let me tell you, people have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, I've had somebody lose $250,000. A lady called me today, she lost her dad lost $20,000, and then she got wind of it. But I had this friend in Lake Charles I've known for years, and her mother-in-law came up to the office one day and she was bawling. And it was the sweepstakes scam, and she had already given this guy over $25,000, okay? And that was her retirement. So she comes in crying. I said, you need to quit talking to these people. And I said, you need to go home and you need to tell your husband, because I can't call him. Even though I know what's going on, I can't call him. She goes, I can't tell my husband. I said, why can't you tell your husband? She said, he's gonna divorce me. I said, well, the other side to that is if you keep giving them money, he's gonna kill you. Pick your poison, okay? So, and she called me the next day. The guy still called me. I don't know what to, don't talk to him. So I said, look, call your son. I knew the family. I said, call your son and tell your son you can lie to him. It doesn't matter what you tell him. You gotta get somebody to know that what you're doing so they can stop it. Didn't hear anything more from her. I also did a little bit of tough love. I told her, I said, if you're gonna keep talking to this guy, don't call me, I can't help you, okay? So about 3 months later, we're in the mall and my husband's with me, and the daughter-in-law who I'm friends with came up to me and said, oh my God, you know what my mother-in-law did? I'm like, no. And I'm a terrible liar. And I said, let me tell you something, whatever you do, don't mock her. Because you could very well be in the same situation, a different scam, but the same situation. And so she was like, oh my God, she was so stupid. We had to take the account away from her, blah, blah. I said, I'm telling you. Fast forward about 6 months later, she calls me, she says, Carmen, I think I've been scammed. Really? Her son went on, what is that? I can't think of where they sell things. Not eBay, but Craigslist. Went to Craigslist and found a vehicle, and I knew exactly what she was going to tell me. I said, did you look at the Blue Book value? Did you see the vehicle? Oh, no. They're being shipped off to war right now, and they need to get the vehicle. They're in Illinois. Don't you think they could sell it from? But look, it doesn't. He was so desperate. He'd cut grass all summer to save money to buy that vehicle. But it goes to show you anybody can be a victim. You know the problem about that? Is anybody who loses that money, it doesn't matter what the amount, you're never going to see it. It is gone. I tell people it's an expensive lesson. It's painful. Lessons are never cheap, they're never free, and they're never pain-free. But let it be a lesson. If you fall again, then that's on you. And anybody can be a victim. Yes, sir?
So you said they're adapting. How are they adapting, and what are the bigger scams that we should be aware of and pitfalls we should avoid? How's it coming to us?
The thing that I think is the most effective scam now, you cannot trust caller ID. Doesn't matter what kind of phone you have. It doesn't matter if you have an old school phone, it doesn't matter, okay? In fact, I think years ago they put into place that do not call list. You can have all the laws you want. They're only as good as they're enforceable. They're only as effective as they are enforceable. And you can only enforce so much. The legitimate companies go abide by it, but the other ones aren't. But you cannot trust call ID. We tell people every day, I don't care if it says IRS, because they can do that. And what they do is they manipulate the phone system. They make it look like you're getting a call from a local area or somewhere close to you. And then I got one on my phone. I was showing my staff, I got one on my phone saying that it was some bank in Baton Rouge saying that my information was compromised. I don't bank with them. But it was at 10 o'clock at night. But those are the ones that scare me the most. And it starts out that way, and they want money. And so they used to ask you to wire money, or the old days they'd send you a check, right? Tell you to deposit it and then wire them money or whatever. Now they just tell you to go get an iTunes card or a cash card and give them the numbers off the back. I think we had a guy one day that he was giving them $200 a pop. And then he'd run to CVS and get another $200 because it wasn't something that would make the CVS people, conscious. If it's $1,400 or, that sort of amount, then it's going to make them suspicious. But if they do it in smaller increments, that's what scares me the most. They take whatever's in the news. It doesn't matter what it is, it's in the news. Hey, we have one that uses the Better Business Bureau number in a scam right now. We have a bunch of businesses local that say, hey, we just missed a call from y'all. No, we didn't call you. Yeah, it was your number. It's a scam. That's the concern. And if they can do that, they can do anything. Yes, ma'am.
Why do people answer the phone and talk to them?
That's a good question. People are scammed for several reasons. No, seriously, people are scammed for several reasons. One is curiosity, right? It may be desperation. They may be lonely. I mean, there are a lot of reasons. I used to say when I give these speeches, I used to tell people that senior citizens were the #1 target. But guess what? They're not anymore. What do we carry on us every single day? Our phone. We are all accessible. We are all targeted victims now. It doesn't matter who you are. In fact, I'll tell you another story. My sister, I've been working for the Bureau for 100 years, and my sister called me one day and she goes, oh, I need you to help me. I said, well, okay, what'd you do? My sister's going to save everybody's life, right? She goes, my friend went out of town and her husband let her Yorkie out and it got killed. I said, oh, that's sad. What'd you do? She goes, I went on Craigslist and I bought 2 dogs. I said, what? She goes, yeah, but they were only this amount of money. And, same story I said. She goes, but I told them my sister runs the Better Business Bureau. I said, and then you gave them money? I said, they're laughing at you because she didn't get anything. But anybody can, she knows because we've had these conversations. If the timing is right, anybody can be a victim. Yes, ma'am.
What's the best advice you could give people, because we're talking about our phones with regard to emails that you get from what looks like your credit card company or your bank?
It's a very good question.
Verify your information. I mean, it's,
Don't click on it.
you don't know it's a scam.
Don't click on it. Look, if you get a call, a text, an email, and it looks legitimate, question it. These guys are professionals. Question it. Pick up the phone from your bill or wherever it is you're going to get the number that you know. Call them and verify that it's actually them. You would be surprised. You know how many people we've gotten calls from that their caller ID said IRS, and they said, this is the IRS, you didn't pay your back taxes in 2007 and 2008, and if you don't make arrangements to pay immediately, we're going to have a bench warrant for your arrest? We have people call us crying. We're like, you can't be arrested for debt, unless you committed fraud. But it takes us about 10 minutes to convince them because they're so shook up. And intelligent people. But yeah, don't trust anything. Like I said, I got the thing in the middle of the night, and I'm like, I don't even have an account with them. But if I did, and that's the other thing, if you have, I'm just going to pick out a bank. If you have an account with Investor Bank, and that's what's coming across as Investor Bank, if they send 1,000 of these texts out, the only people that have an account are the only ones they're going to catch, right? Because it's familiar. And that's the thing is it's efficient. They throw it out and try to bait somebody in. And if the situation and the timing is right, anybody can be a victim. And don't ever, I promise you, if you have a conversation with your family and friends, somebody's going to have been victim. The first speech I gave when I moved to Baton Rouge, a guy came up to me. His uncle lost $15,000 on the grandparent scam. The grandparent scam. And you know how I found out it was a scam? He was sending them money. That night he went to a family event, and the guy that was supposed to be the victim was there. He goes, I thought you were in Africa. He goes, no, I'm right here. And then it sunk in. He lost $15,000 on that particular scam. Yes, ma'am.
One of the webcasts I just listened to
can't hear it.
They're targeting behavioral characteristics now. They're actually training these scammers to use behavioral characteristics. They're targeting behavioral characteristics. Scammers are being trained.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is what you have to understand. Scammers are these are not stupid people. They're very intelligent, and they know who to target. They know how to get you, and they do look at, like you said, characteristics. These guys are smart. They use every tool in the book, and some things we don't even think about to target you as a victim.
What is immediacy?
Yeah, yeah. You know, fear is a great motivating factor for people to be a potential a potential victim. Excuse me. And then you have to act now. If you don't act now, then it's that urgency. Yes, ma'am.
Is the two-step verification helping to stop some of this?
Look, they're going to find a way around that at some point. Whatever we put in place, not me, but whoever is put in place, it's going to help for a certain amount of time, but they're going to find a way around that at some point. You have to follow the rules, but you have to be careful and suspect everybody. I'm sorry, but I don't trust a lot. And so if somebody calls me, and even if it's true, I'll pick up the phone and call them and say, did you just send this over, or who is this? Or I had a guy, somebody send me, I hate, no offense, I hate Facebook. And I get all these requests for friends, and I automatically think everybody's a scammer. But this one sent me a friend request from my hometown. I thought, oh, this is so sweet. It wasn't her. Because when they started asking me questions, I was like, wait a minute, this is way too personal, and I don't care about what program you're involved in. It was weird, and I knew right then it was a scam. But, and that's another thing. If you get, this is happening right now a lot, if you get a text or a Facebook message from a friend, and they're telling you that they got a grant, it's a scam. But this is what you need to understand. Not only are you being a targeted victim, but your friends is a victim, because their Facebook friend list got the same thing. In fact, I'll tell you another quick. How much time do I have? I'm good? Okay. No, I need to give door prizes away. Let me tell you one other thing, and I'll give you door prizes. We had a business in Lake Charles. It was a new business, and she got her email list. Her Facebook friend list was stolen, and all of her friends got this message that said, "Oh, I'm in a foreign country, and I'm in jail, and I need help. Can you send me $1,000?" And one of her Facebook friends was part of her church, so that person forwarded that request to the church members. Yeah. It gets bad. She called me. She was so hysterical, I had to leave the office and go to her business because she was so hysterical. All of her friends were sending them $1,000. And she was devastated, because what do? She can't afford to give all her friends their money back, and they're never going to see their money. It happens every single day. Don't trust it. Ask them a question that only they're going to know the answer to. And just be very cautious. Okay, one quick.
One quick question. So 2 or 3 times a day now, I get a call and it says scam likely. Well, I have a 95-year-old mother and a huge family. So there's always this doubt. It says likely. Just don't answer it. Just do away with my doubt.
Do not answer. Don't trust caller ID. I don't care what it says. Let them leave a message. If it's somebody they know, they're going to leave a message. Even if you recognize the phone, if you don't recognize the voice, make them leave you a message. Okay, I'm going to pick 3 really quick. I got 1 minute. Okay, I want to give 3 door prizes away, and I get to choose who gets them. So, let me see what they are. I have to see what they are. Okay, I am going to, and I want you to come up here so we can show everybody what your gift is. You're my man. Come on, I'm gonna give you a gift. Yeah, you. Okay, and let me see who else. I'm gonna give you one. So if you'll come up, yes, ma'am. Okay, I'm going to give you a personal home exercise system. I'm going to give you a personal home cooling system. Wait, I got one more.
Probably a scam.
The lady in the maroon right there, come up here. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm terrible with names, guys, by the way. I'm going to give you a personal home security system. Yeah, okay. He can take this and personally take it home and exercise. She can take this and cool herself off, and that is the security system. Thank you. Thank you. And the moral of that story is if it sounds too good to be true, it generally is. Thank you.